I wish all football fans were that happy. Welcome to the best and worst from NFL Week 7, or as I like to call it, mostly the worst from Week 7. Now, I'm going to break down the worst moments from yet another shitty week of this strange NFL season, and maybe, just maybe along the way, I'll find some positives to salvage the fact that I spend almost every waking hour covering a sport that refuses to love me back. I'm like a little doggy wagging its tail, waiting for my owner to come home. Turns out he travels for business 48 weeks out of the year. But let's do it. Best and worst, Week 7. Let's start with a best use of the F word on live ESPN TV.
I see that these motherfuckers, these stands.
Look, if you put a mic in front of beast mode, you have to expect a certain amount of obscenity.
That shit kind of got me on tip.
That's like putting a microphone in front of Kanye and expecting him to not say something anti-Semitic at this point. Best assault on an NFL official goes to Jamal Williams, who brutally launched a projectile at a ref who was in the process of penalizing the Lions. In terms of football-related assaults, this falls somewhere in between Brandon Stokely slapping a ref's finger and Devontae Adams just a couple weeks ago. Best Zen moment goes to Pete Carroll, calming Geno Smith after a couple bad calls by the officials. I believe this is the NFL signal for Danger Witch. And in about 25 minutes, Pete Carroll will be rubbing his ass. Best use of a challenge flag? Well, that goes to Mike Vrabel. Actually, Mike Vrabel should get a gold jacket just for the way he throws challenge flags. He is the GOAT challenger. All right, the big awards, best quarterback. I'm gonna give it to Andy Dalton in a lot. Just kidding. It came down to Patrick Mahomes and Joe Burrow, and I think I'm actually, I'm giving it to Patrick Mahomes because he did it against the 49ers defense. Don't worry, Joe Burrow, you're gonna get plenty of love in this episode. I really thought the Chiefs would get slowed down by the 49ers defense. Boy, was I wrong. Sure, the 49ers may have all of the guns, but these Native Americans know the land. They outsmarted them and slaughtered them right in front of their own gold claim. Juju Smith-Schuster and MVS both went over 100 yards. The Chiefs were 6 of 9 on third down, which is impressive. Not just because of the efficiency, but also because they managed to score over 40 points and only faced third down 9 times. Patrick Mahomes sacked just once against the Nick Bosa-led defensive front and managed to win by 3 touchdowns despite getting totally owned in time of possession. That's just the Chiefs, and we must get used to it. Isaiah Pacheco got the start, but if you think Andy Reid will ever run the football more than 20 times, you dumb. I mean, technically he did in this game if you count Chad Henne's 3 kneel downs. Worst QB? Lamar Jackson was a contender. Something is up with him after he was killing it in the first 3 weeks of the season. Just 120 passing yards for Action Jackson, which was 1 less than Zach Wilson, who is also a contender for my worst QB this week, but I have to give it to Kenny Pickett, who, like Andy Dalton, threw 3 interceptions, but unlike Andy Dalton, only managed 1 TD pass to George. My targets are Slim Pickens. And I don't want to beat up on Kenny Pickett. It's only his 3rd game or whatever. Worst play? Well, this goes to Mike Evans with the worst drop of his life. I've never seen Mike Evans this wide open, and I have never seen Mike Evans drop a pass this easy. According to NFL Next Gen Stats, Mike Evans had 10.9 yards of separation to the nearest defender on his drop in the first quarter. That's the most wide open drop on a pass traveling at least 30 air yards this season. Best individual performance for a wide receiver? Well, I'm going back to Thursday night, and I'm actually handing this award to DeAndre Hopkins. In his first game back from suspension, Hopkins went off for 103 yards on 10 grabs against the Saints. It's even more impressive that he did it with a quarterback whose head was half in the game and half invested in his kill-the-death ratio in Modern Warfare 2. Hopkins played 27 snaps from the slot, and you could see the positive effect that he had on the Cardinals. That and, of course, 2 defensive touchdowns. Those also helped a lot. A surprise runner-up, though, is Marquise Goodwin, who caught his first 2 touchdowns of the season for the Seahawks. Best individual performance for a running back is going to, well, there were 7 backs who broke the century mark this week. I narrowed this down to Josh Jacobs and Kenneth Walker. Jacobs won this award once already this season, and he was the main reason the Raiders torched the lowly Texans, going off for 143 yards and 3 touchdowns. I'm happy he's playing well in a contract year, and since he will get paid, I have to give this award to Kenneth Walker as the leading rusher of the weekend with 168 yards. Walker is a 212 back who reached the fastest speed by a ball carrier this season at 22.09 miles per hour. Walker is the first Seahawks rookie with 150 rushing yards and 2 rushing touchdowns in a game since Kurt Warner in 1983. Yes, Kurt Warner, the true ageless wonder in the NFL. This was, of course, before he was stocking shelves, before he switched to quarterback, and before he changed his skin color to white. And that performance helped the Seahawks bring the Chargers back down to reality. Biggest pretender, I'm giving that to Matt Ryan, who followed his huge 3-touchdown performance last week with a 2-pick game where the Colts went from a promising contender just hitting their stride to getting stonewalled by the Titans. And I'm putting it on Matt Ryan because the Colts defense was awesome, only allowing 12 points while Ryan threw a huge pick 6 to Andrew Adams. The Colts are one of the most confusing teams in the NFL, and I think Ryan's up and down performance is a major reason for that. Figure it out, Indy. Either be good or be bad. Remember the last time you were bad? You got Andrew Luck. Try that again. And sure enough, it's coming out that Matt Ryan has a separated shoulder and won't play next week against Washington. Or for the rest of the season, let the Sam Eisenhower era begin, or whoever the fuck your backup quarterback is there. Best offense, I'm giving it to the Cincinnati Bengals. Joe Burrow threw just 21 yards shy of 500 with 3 touchdown passes and a passer rating of 138.2. Trying to figure out who was making more impressive catches in this game between Jamar Chase and Tyler Boyd is like picking which serial killer is your favorite. They're all insane and they do their dirty work with their hands. From now on, I think I'll call Jamar Chase the Zodiac because nobody will ever catch him. Tyler Boyd is Ted Bundy because he's low-key handsome, and Hi Tee Higgins can be Jeffrey Dahmer because we all sort of forgot about him, but Netflix will reboot him next week and he'll have 200 yards. Here's a great stat from ESPN Stats and Info. Boyd and Chase are the first duo with a 100 yards receiving and a TD in the first half of a game since 2015, when Bears duo Jeremy Langford and Zach Miller did it week 10 versus the Rams. Weird duo. Best defense, the Carolina Panthers, who held Tom Brady and the Buccaneers to just 3 points and came out of nowhere to do it. The Rams just scored 24 against the Panthers. The Niners dropped 37 on them. The Cardinals 26. So shutting down Tampa is impressive and unexpected. Tom Brady did not throw a touchdown pass against the Panthers defense. First time he's been held touchdownless all season, which he says is way worse than being familyless. I'm not proud of that one. Stop. Just stop, Brandon. I said I wouldn't take cheap shots against Tom Brady. Why? Why do you have to slander that man? What is wrong with you? I've got problems. But also, fuck Tom Brady. Now, Brady only has 1 game with more than 1 touchdown pass this season, which came week 4 in a loss to the Chiefs. The last time Brady didn't throw a TD in a game was week 4 of 2021 in his homecoming game against the Patriots. And my benchwarmerbrew.com benchwarmer player of the game goes to PJ Walker. and Taylor Heineke, but PJ Walker, who defeated former backup and maybe future backup Tom Brady. PJ Walker threw a couple beautiful touchdown passes, including a perfect lob to Tommy Trimble, who was easily the best Tom, Tommy, or Thomas in this game. My best play from the weekend? Rarely do I give the best play to a defense, because that shit's boring, but I think the Giants earned it on the last play of the game when their secondary sandwiched Christian Kirk right before crossing the goal line to potentially win the game. Fitting, considering it was just last October that Urban Meyer also came this close to scoring, but didn't. Somehow, the New York Giants, who have been an abject disaster since 2017, have the second best record in football at 6-1 under their new head coach, Brian DeBalls of Steel. Unfortunately for them, the team with the best record also plays in their division, and they've got a 2-loss team breathing down their neck in the Dallas Cowboys. Best stat, the New York Giants have won 6 of their 7 games this year, and despite being 6-1, they have never had a 2-score lead at any point this season. Best tag team? I'm giving that to Dan Jones and Saquon Barkley, who both went over 100 rushing yards and eked out another ugly-ass win. Dan Campbell wanted the Lions to be the team that can, and very long pause, will. But I think that's who the Giants are. Best moment? Davante Adams, who looked both ways and made sure the coast was clear when he left through the tunnel after the Raiders beat the Texans on Sunday. It's clear that after nearly murdering that cameraman in cold blood, Davante Adams has shown remorse and is growing as a person. I say we commute his sentence from life in prison to just having to play out his contract with the Raiders. Worst moment? Noah Brown fumbling upside down, which gave the Lions their first red zone stop of the entire year. Detroit fumbled 5 times in this game, so a perfect way for Dak to ease himself back into game shape. I guess the Cowboys defense made up for it when they inverted a Lions running back later in the 4th quarter. Worst stat? Sorry, Packers, but you're back. Green Bay did not convert a 3rd down for the first time since 1999, which was a Week 6 game at Denver. In that game, Ed McCaffrey took a Packers safety for a ride to the end zone for a huge touchdown. Brett Favre and the Packers offense probably saw that play and said, "We give up." Romeo Doubs did drop a couple balls. Aaron Rodgers just looked generally annoyed for the 7th game in a row, and the Packers have no rhythm on offense. Depressing stat? Well, with Jimmy G at QB, the 49ers are 1-30 in games when they're trailing by 3 or more points entering the 4th quarter. That's not very inspiring stuff for the 49ers, but it describes their identity as a team perfectly. Best game? Well, like Tom Brady said, there's a lot of bad football this year. He was mostly talking about the league as a whole, but it's definitely been applicable to himself as well. An astute moment of self-reflection from Tom. But he's right in that most games, even when they're close, they kind of just suck. It's just that both teams suck long enough for it to be interesting at the very end. This game featured a 6-minute review in Washington. A football play, has officially been held to more scrutiny than Dan Snyder. That's right, I'm giving the best game of the week to the Commanders, who upset the Packers 23-21. We had a defensive touchdown from Devondre Campbell. We had a beautiful touchdown grab in the end zone by Aaron Jones. And we had an absolute dime from backup Taylor Heineke to Terry McLaurin. My only complaint is that we were robbed of an Aaron Rodgers Hail Mary attempt on the last play of the game in favor of this waste of time. And finally, worst game? Good Lord, these were all the worst games. Now, I already covered the Broncos-Jets loss in depth, so I'm going to take Sunday Night Football, the game between the Dolphins and the Steelers, and condemn it to the depths of football hell. There were some stories, nice stories in that game. Tua came back from injury and immediately tried to reconcuss himself. Do not do that, Tua. Kenny Pickett threw 3 picks. And in the waning moments of the game, found a wide open Noah Igbenogany in the end zone for a Dolphins game winner. It's good to know that even when the Broncos aren't on primetime, their terrible spirit lingers and robs another national audience of watchable football. Worst finish? Well, that goes to the Browns, missing a field goal. Cleveland, you're the only team who can't finish the comeback against the Ravens. Well, you and the Bengals, so it must be a division thing. You had this Cleveland. Brissett goes deep to Amari Cooper for the game-winning touchdown. Oh, fuck. Cooper dinged for offensive pass interference. So Cade, the grand old Duke of York, lines up for a 56-yard field goal. But oh no, your line. They jump, backing you up to an impossible 61-yard field goal. Even though it's pretty clear the Ravens jump and caused the Browns to jump, but we won't get into that. All I know is the scariest thing in an NFL football game is when the refs huddle like this. The Ravens then block the field goal and hold on to the lead for what feels like the first time ever. This was a horrible week of football. Maybe next week will be better. Thanks for watching That's Good Sports. Please subscribe here and don't forget to check out my new worst game I've ever watched. My full recap of Broncos Jets. It's either already up or I'll be uploading it shortly.